Everybody, I'm Mr. Controversial himself, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, sponsored by Lots Digital Media Production, in association with Lots News. And today is Sunday, April 20th, 2008, and today's topic of discussion is enslavement of little Caucasian girls in El Dorado, Texas. You heard me correct. Enslavement of little Caucasian girls in El Dorado, Texas at the polygamous compound. Now, this is very controversial, so if you're under 17, please get your parents' permission before you start listening, because they might not want you to hear this, but I'm only going to tell you what God loves. I'm telling you the truth. So let's get right into today's topic of discussion. The slave techniques of years ago are being practiced on little Caucasian girls in the polygamous camp in El Dorado, Texas. The practices and techniques are the same techniques and practices used on African female slaves no less than 200 years ago. We must put an end to this. And here are some examples of the techniques used by slave owners 200 years ago to enslave African female slaves. And you can compare these practices to the practices taught at this polygamous camp, and you would definitely see similarity, and we need to stop this. Okay. African American slaves were brainwashed with religion to be subservient and obedient to their white slave masters. These little girls at this polygamous camp are being brainwashed with religion to be subservient and obedient to their white dominant males. African female slaves were denied a formal education and thus were kept blissfully ignorant to the world around them. These Caucasian little girls are being denied a formal education, and this thus keeping them blissfully ignorant to the world around them. African female slaves were falsely and continuously reminded that Jesus Christ put them in their living situation and circumstances, i.e., Jesus Christ put you here. The Caucasian girls in this polygamous camp are also falsely and constantly taught that Jesus Christ put them in their living situations. African females, slaves, were vehemently told to trust no outsiders. These Caucasian little females are vehemently told to trust no outsiders. Slavery is against the law and it is unconstitutional in the United States of America. Slavery is being practiced in the state of Texas, in the city of El Dorado, and as society, we cannot continue to let this happen. Texas has a history of turning a blind eye to slavery. Let us not allow to keep this occurring. In this day and age, if we can't help young Caucasian girls from being enslaved, what are we to do for our Black, Asian, and other ethnic groups of little girls? I am certain that African American female slaves on several occasions attempt to seek help from Texas authorities, only to be heard by a deaf, unresponsive ear. No help came immediately. These girls at the compound also attempted and were finally successful in getting help from Texas authority. But the question is, how many attempts did it take for them to get help from the Texas authorities? African female slave owners received subsidies for slaves. The leaders of these compounds also received government subsidies for these little white Caucasian girls. Older white females were forced to watch while lewd and vile acts were performed on these little white Caucasian girls. African female slave mothers was also forced to watch while their daughters were being performed lewd and vile acts on. The definition of slavery is to make a slave, cause someone to lose their freedom or their choice of action. This is exactly what is being practiced at this compound, and unfortunately the great state of Texas has been allowing the city of El Dorado to participate in this travesty of modern day slavery. According to Bill O'Reilly, this problem is also taking place in the state of Utah. This is a plea to the black community. This is a plea not just to the black community, but the Latino community and the Asian community. If these little white Caucasian girls are being treated like this and being put in this type of lifestyle, oh my God, can you imagine that? That we're next, or it could be going on in our community also. So we definitely must put a stop to modern day slavery in El Dorado, Texas, and in the state of Utah. I have more comparisons and more comparisons, and these practices of modern day slavery being practiced at the polygamous compound in Texas. I'm Mr. Controversial, and I'll see you when you get back.